losing close to $100 million a week as we speak because of the cost of corn. Governor Perry has the wisdom and common sense to understand that corn-based ethanol is destroying the livestock industry as we know it. He also understands that the consumer will pay the ultimate price at the supermarket. The cattlemen of America have had a long and proud history of providing our customers with good, safe, and affordable beef. Governor Perry, on behalf of all cattlemen and livestock producers in America, I want to thank you for having the courage to saddle up and take the lead for the American consumer.
Jim, thank you very much. You've heard from a number of folks from the industry, and we'll be happy to attempt to answer any questions that you may have. Yes, sir.
Governor, if I could ask any of these complicated
You may. And would you share with me who you are so that
Matt Wald of the New York Times.
Matt, yes, sir.
You cut the mandate by 50% and therefore use 2 billion bushels of corn next year instead of 4 billion.
Greg,
What would you
he's fixing to ask an
the
economic
price
question.
effect to be on corn?
Yeah.
And I know you don't know what the price will be next year, but what would the delta be?
Okay, the question is if we cut the mandate by
50%.
50%.
And you cut corn ethanol use of corn by 2 billion bushels, from 4 down to 2 billion bushels, what would the price effect be on corn?
Well, the answer is it's a little complicated because it would be exponential. In the United States today, most industry analysts believe that the pipeline supply of corn is, or their ending stocks or residual supply is about 500 to 600 million bushels. You know, we haven't had a shortage of corn in the United States since really kind of 1995. And we've had plenty of corn up until date. When what the futures market is looking at right now is the situation for the coming year, and we were already, USDA is already indicating we were down into that 600 million bushel pipeline situation with cutting exports, cutting demand domestically down to the bare bones. But now with this situation in Iowa, it is very, very clear that we're going to have to ration corn. And how much of that there is, I think we'll look at the upcoming USDA report and take a look at this. 2 billion bushels of corn is the amount of corn used annually by the beef industry in the United States. So it would be a significant amount of corn. The other side of this is that the marketplace today in the ethanol industry, my understanding is we're probably going to produce about 9 billion gallon of ethanol this year. Notwithstanding supply and shocks and situations on the corn side of the equation. And again, I think the marketplace is going to dictate that we're not going to, regardless if we have the corn, and I don't think we're going to have to cut this thing 2 billion bushels. But the point is, let's let the marketplace dictate this. Let's supply and demand dictate this and not some arbitrary government mandate.
Well, if I could follow up, so what you're saying is we're already at 9 billion gallons, which is 1.5 billion gallons more than the mandate. If they cut the mandate, might the market yet dictate more production because the price of oil is so high?
Well, that's the whole point. Let's let the market decide that number, based upon the amount of corn, based upon the price of oil, the price of ethanol, et cetera.
Cutting the mandate might not result in a cut in actual ethanol production.
No, I think the question you need to be asking, if you don't mind me
Please.
restating your question for you, which is what will the price of corn be if we don't cut the mandate? And that, I would suggest to you, is a number that none of us who do care about the consuming public, that do care about our ability to be able to feed the people, not just in my state, but literally around the world, what is that going to be? And at that particular point in time, I think we have the answer that we're looking for, and that is that it's too high. It is unreasonable. It's unreasonable to ask people to pay. We saw the president of Mexico today, I believe, put a cap on the cost of corn. We're just starting to see the dynamic impact of what this is meaning to human food consumption. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am, in the back.
Have you folks figured out how much the high price of diesel and gasoline and energy is having on the price of corn to use?
Who wants to take that? Because we have the Texas A&M economist.
Probably higher than what the ethanol
Yeah.
industry is
Well, I don't think any of us will stand here and tell you that the entire cost of the food supply is driven by the ethanol mandate. I mean, we can talk of, if we want to, just pull the plug here and talk about energy across the board, we can talk a lot of things that need to be done from the standpoint of helping, whether you're a trucker and the cost of diesel, whether you're a farmer out in West Texas, or for that matter, whether you own a small, efficient automobile and paying $4 a gallon for it in New York City. Well, can you even buy gas for $4 in New York City? That's what I thought. Come on down to Texas. We've
Yeah, but you'll be crossing the border into
the point is there is a host of issues that impact it. The idea that we have historic decisions that are putting land off the books for the standpoint of exploration. And I put ethanol and the ethanol issue into the same category. At one time in our history, they may have looked like good ideas. They may have been well-intentioned. But as we find ourselves in this very difficult energy time in the world, I happen to think that we should step back and say, you know what, it's different times. America finds itself in a different place. And although ethanol and the renewable fuel standard mandate looked like a good idea 5 years ago, it's no longer a good idea. It's hurting America. It's hurting our families. And the reasonable position from my perspective would be to say, you know what, although we did support that in the past, it's different times, it's different situations, and we do think that reducing that mandate by at least 50% is the right thing to do. Please.
If I could just quickly answer the question from one perspective. Dr. Keith Collins, who was the chief economist of USDA, just came out with a study, and he believes about 60% or so is due to biofuels, ethanol. Some other analysts have put it at 30, 40%, but I think Dr. Collins, 60% is probably pretty close, and we can talk about the other issues. No one's saying 100%, but it's at least 60% in my analysis.
Great. One additional thing is that to cheapen up diesel fuel, which I think all of us would dearly love to see, particularly because of its impact that rolls through our economy.